Hello there, my name's Tim Williamson from Keylets. I'm partner in the business. So thank you for coming onto the Tenant Find page. And what I quickly want to go through is what we do to find the right tenants for you. Obviously you're going to be managing it, so you need to be confident that the tenants we find are going to fit what you're looking for, and certainly going to pay the rent on time and respect your property. So finding the right kind of tenants is really important, but also making sure the paperwork is correct and that you have everything else around that, so that when you are managing the property, if anything goes wrong, you've got everything to hand, and you can then cover your bases and explain to the tribunal or whoever wants to come against you that everything is right and correct. So how do we do this? Okay, first of all, it starts with the tenants. When we view a property with the tenants, it's accompanied viewings. We have an application form that they will fill in so that we can then have them referenced by an independent referencing agency. Anyway, when they fill in the form and they hand in the form, we also look for a deposit. So the deposit is a holding deposit. It's equal to the month's rent, which they pay at that point. Now, that effectively is a filter to make sure that if somebody can afford the deposit, they can afford the rent, but equally it means then that we will hold back from doing further viewings. We will continue advertising the property. We will take names and numbers, but we'll hold that property for that tenant. Now, they go through the referencing. As I say, we use an independent company to do that work for us. We pay them a fee. It means that they will independently do a credit check, employer's reference, landlord's reference, and once the tenant has passed those, then we can offer you an insurance policy through Rent Shield, or Alan Boswell, which is another company we use, will accept the Rent Shield's referencing. And it means that you can take out an insurance policy that covers the rent if the tenant defaults and has legal insurance to protect you. You can't do that if we were doing that in-house, and so consequently it's really important that we vet to a higher standard that has an independent view on that tenant. So the tenant is then properly vetted. We then have them sign the leases. Now, the new private residential tenancies, the PRT leases, the tenants can sign them digitally. We are old-fashioned. We like to have the tenants sitting in front of us. They will sign the leases and the additional paperwork. In fact, they'll sign 3 leases, one for you, one for us, one for the tenant, and then that will then set up the tenancy together with the paperwork, which you will then get. They will sign an inventory. If you're going to provide your own inventory, we can have a talk about that, or we can organise a professional inventory done for you. There is a cost to that, but obviously again we can discuss that. Now, the tenant signs that. They sign the paperwork as well, the key receipts, things like that. So it means then that all the paperwork is correctly done. And once the tenant has signed the paperwork and everything has all been set up, they've paid their first month's rent, we've got a standing order mandate set up, we've got the readings obviously from when they moved in, so we'll notify the gas, the electricity and the council tax for you. But once the tenant has moved in, then you become responsible for the management of that tenancy. Now, you'll get the original paperwork, okay, so that you'll have the original inventory that's signed by the tenant and all the other items that you would need as part of your evidence should, as I say, a tenant or anybody make a question whether you're doing your job correctly. Now, what I would say is, though, we are particular about who we have as tenants, whether it be for self-managing landlords or our own landlords, but equally, the property has got to be a good quality property, not one that's going to put off tenants. So it's really important that when we're looking at the property that we're going to be finding tenants for, that it does meet the legal requirements, the compliance that's required. And again, I can send you a form, or not a form, an article I've written that will give you information on that. So it has the EICI, it has the gas certificates, it has the right smoke detection, it has the PAT test, Legionella, all these things that obviously are very important at the start of a tenancy when the tenant moves in. And we do need those from you before that tenant moves in. Okay, on top of that, there are certain areas where we will not accept properties. Over the years, and we've been doing this over 25 years, we found that some outlying areas, say Patna, Cumnock, places like that, we just don't take those properties on because we can't find tenants, really sufficient tenants, to meet the criteria that we would look for when we're looking for the kind of tenants that we go for. The other thing is, cheap areas, like areas for Air, for example, White City, for example, where they're really cheap properties. I mean, again, we're not in the bottom end of the market. It's really important, for us to get the right properties, to get the right tenants for long-term, benefit for our landlords. So unfortunately, if you're in a market where your properties are really aimed at housing benefit market in a poor area, then I'm afraid that's probably not, basically we're not the best fit for you. In fact, we aren't the best fit for you. We just won't accept those kind of properties. So I'm sorry to say that, but I'd rather be honest with you and say, look, there are other agents out there who are in that market. That said, if your property is not like that and it's really good and you're looking for really good solid tenants, then I'm more than happy to talk to you. In fact, very keen to talk to you, because it's very important to us to make sure that our landlords, whether they're full management or tenant find, are properly looked after. Okay, thanks for listening to me. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.